Yeah, so let's get into this. Let's do the best of 2025 so far.
All right.
And let's get to this news. So we're just gonna be going back and forth. You're gonna give your movie, I'm gonna give my movie, and that'd be it there. So let me pull up my list. I got your
Okay.
list up right here.
All right.
There. So all right. So Neil, let us know. What you got up for best of 2025
Okay.
so far.
All right. So the movies I have on my list are in alphabetical order. So there's no like ranking of this. I'll say that for the end of the year. But the first movie on my list is Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later. This is a long in demand sequel for the 28 Days Later franchise. And we finally got a sequel to this. And what really struck me about this movie is how out of its way it went to be different than what you anticipate from typical zombie movies. Danny Boyle, the director, is known for having a very frenetic and energetic style. But what's really interesting about this movie is that that style is applied to a very small scale story, and it feels very intimate with its characters and what their conflicts are. Those conflicts are pretty atypical from a zombie movie, but at the same time, that's what I found most interesting about it is that it really, it zigged where it should have zagged and really just made its own voice heard in the genre. I don't think it's for everyone. I think people who are looking for more typical zombie movies aren't really going to get the artistic intent of this movie and what it's trying to do. But I found it super engaging and very thought provoking the entire way through.
Mm. I know this movie. We talked about it. Divisive, I guess you would say. I know some people are a little bit split on it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Especially the ending. Were you a fan of the ending, or did you?
The ending, I will admit, I was not a huge fan of the ending. It makes it better in that it's known that there's a sequel already being made, and it's going to come out in January of 2026. So that makes the ending go down a little bit better. But I will say, it definitely feels like a part one. Definitely feels like a Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows part one situation, where like the movie itself is good, but like it's a setup for something else.
Mm, okay. Okay. I like this very much. It's not on my list, but I did like it. There. We're doing a retro review of the first movie. I haven't watched the first movie in a long time, and also I'll probably watch 28 Weeks Later as well. Um,
28 Weeks Later is really underrated, I feel like. I feel, both of the 28 movies are just, the thing I appreciate most about them is that they're zombie movies, but they are extremely different and like go and tackle themes that you would never expect a zombie series to do.
Mm, nice. Okay. So that's on your list there, best 2025 so far. First one up is 28 Years Later. Okay. Very
Mhm.
awesome. For my list here, the movie I have there, again, it's no real order there, just kind of best so far. I haven't really ranked them. But first up for me here, I'm going to discuss is Steven Soderbergh's. He came out with two movies this year there, and one of the other ones, spoil my list a little bit, will be on my list as well. But this one was Presence. I believe this movie came out all the way early January. This movie came out earlier in the year in January. This is a ghost possession movie here. This is starring Lucy Liu is in it. About this house there that's the family that lives in it, and there's like this presence that the girl can feel. The daughter here can feel in this house. And where kind of the story goes is very interesting there. It's not your kind of much like what Steven Soderbergh does, who I like Steven Soderbergh a lot because he plays in different genres a lot and experiments in his filmmaking tactics there. And he kind of does the same thing here. And it's not your typical ghost possession film, which I kind of like that there. And the movie, it kind of puts you in the POV of the ghost, of the presence in the house, which I think is kind of cool there. And also, this is the first ghost possession movie I've ever seen that it's like the family actually scares the fuck out the ghost. Normally
Oh,
it's the other way around. Like the family's kind of fucked up in a way that the ghost is even kind of scared of the family. So I thought that was kind of an interesting. little spin on it. But I really enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit. Very movie came out earlier in the year. Steven Soderbergh, directed by Steven Soderbergh. There, I liked it a lot. So,
Yeah,
Presence is up for me.
I actually saw this movie too, and I quite enjoyed it as well. Everything you said is very true. I really found the idea of like the POV from the ghost perspective to be a very interesting way to tell this story, and it made all the revelations and the character moments seem a lot more like intimate and more like emotional, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well.
Yeah. All right. What's next up for you, Neil?
All right. My next film is a movie that came out earlier this year called Companion. This is a sort of horror film that without getting too much into the story, is about knowing the company you keep and figuring out how to like trust people and when not to trust people. This is a very twisty movie. It's best viewed when you don't really know what the premise of it is, but I thought once you figured out what is going on, it was super engaging and was just very thrilling the entire time. The main two characters are Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid. They're both terrific in their roles, and this just really surprised me because I frankly had no expectations going into this about what it was about or what it was doing. But once you figure it out, it's one of the most like interesting movies of the year, and just very timely. I would say in terms of the world we live in.
Mm. This is on my list as well. I liked it quite a bit there. And this was directed by, let me see real quick here. Did you already say the name? Drew
Uh,
Hancock.
yeah, I think this is I think this is a debut feature.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's the same dude who did Barbarian, and he's doing this," because they promoted that heavily, like, from the same creative team as Barbarian and all that stuff,
Right.
but it was, Drew Hancock who directed this, and I think you're right, it is his directorial debut, and I think he did a great job with it. This was a good sci-fi horror type movie here. Sophie Thatcher, who's building a good resume, I thought she was very good in this as well. Jack Quaid is also, I mean, Jack Quaid's kinda becoming like the new Pedro Pascal. He's like Jack Quaid's in a lot of stuff too.
Yeah,
He's
Jack Quaid. I mean, Jack Quaid is really good in that. Like he plays against type in this role in this movie very well, and it just shows his talent as well.
Yeah, because he was in 3 movies I saw this year. He was in Companion, he was in Novocaine, he was in Heads of State, but that was like a Amazon Prime streaming movie, so that's
Oh, I know he was in that one.
yeah, he's in that, so yeah, I like this quite a bit too there, and I'm looking forward to see what Drew Hancock maybe he does next. I'm looking forward to seeing that,
Yeah,
um
me too.
there. So I already said Companion was already on my list. So I'll move on to the next movie on my list there. That is there. And that is going to be for the film called Magazine Dreams. Magazine Dreams is a movie starring there Jonathan Majors there. This was a movie that had a lot of issues as far as coming out because Jonathan Majors was involved in that domestic violence case there, and then so the movie was delayed because of that, and it was supposed to release I think under I forgot the production company it was supposed to be at first, but it bounced around there, and then finally ended up coming out this year. And I mean, Jonathan Majors is a phenomenal actor. I mean, incredibly talented. I think you see that here. This is I said this in my review. This is probably the best movie and one of the best performances of the year that you won't see being nominated for any type of awards. I think given because of what happened with Jonathan Majors, but this is kind of if you watch Joker and were disappointed by that, this is kind of what you would more expect from something a movie like that or the story was trying to tell there. And it really is mainly just a portrayal of this guy. I mean, there's other characters that come in the movie, but it's really just mainly led by Jonathan Majors and kind of the downfall of this guy in him being trying to be a professional bodybuilder. And it really reminds me of something like maybe Darren Aronofsky films there, how kind of tragic it is in that way. The story is telling about this man, the portrayal of it. So I thought this was a really great film here. One of my favorite films. I think it will stay on my list for best of 2025.
Well, the comparisons you just said of like Darren Aronofsky and Joker really sold me on like wanting to see this, and I agree that Jonathan Majors is a terrific actor, but I hope he can find his feet sooner rather than later. But yeah, like just looking at the footage you were showing, the movie is gorgeous looking. Like the cinematography, how the colors play off each other, and compose the shots. It's fascinating to look at.
Mm. Yeah, it's a really a beautiful shot movie too. Very kind of it's beautiful in the simplistic nature of it, which is also really great. But yeah, I mean, probably won't get any awards recognition there for it. But it is I think a really great film there. Yeah, what's next up for you, Neil?
All right, my next film is the animated movie taking Netflix by storm, K-pop Demon Hunters. This essentially takes the Into the Spider Verse animation style and applies it to a more like Korean slash anime type story. It is a pretty typical story. I'm not going to front. It's pretty typical, but at the same time, the animation and the energy of the movie is so infectious and entertaining that you don't really think about that. It's just minute for minute one of the more like energetic and entertaining movies of the year, and just the animation just really does a lot of the heavy lifting of telling the story of like the plot and the characters, as you can see how expressive they are. This is led by a couple of relative newcomers to the animation industry, Maggie Kang and Chris Applehans, who really just show a lot of great eye for detail with the animation and just storytelling. And I look forward to seeing what these two do for the inevitable sequels, because this first movie really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I had fun watching this. We did a review of it. I had Jenny Liano on. Jenny, who's a big K-pop stan, loves K-pop music there, and it was interesting to hear her talk about it, being such a big K-pop fan and getting to all the social commentary of the movie that's presented here, the Easter eggs, the references to K-pop music, K-pop culture here. I thought that was very interesting. So it was great to have that perspective. Did you have that a little bit of perspective coming in watching the movie, be a K-pop fan or anything like that?
I'm not the most knowledgeable K-pop person in the world. I'm more of an anime and J-pop fan, to be honest. But I found, just I found a lot of the themes are really interesting and universal, between all the characters, and just thought the animation did such a great job of selling the emotions and everything about the movie that it just really worked.
Mm, awesome. And you're right. It is one of the biggest movies on Netflix right now. Also, I think they've talked about they've tried to. I think there was rumors that they were going to do live action, but I think they shut that down. That they're not going to do a live action
Uh,
version of it.
just
Uh,
just make a couple good sequels. Just do that first.
I did hear that they are planning on making a sequel to this. I think I did hear that, so they're planning on doing that with it.
Yeah, good.
Uh,
It deserves it.
Yeah. So yeah, Neil's got a K-pop Demon Hunters on his list. Next up for me, on my list of best of 2025 so far, I got, like I said, I was going to do another Steven Soderbergh movie, and here is the other Steven Soderbergh film. It is Black Bag. Black Bag starring Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett there. This movie about two people who kind of work for this government agency there. They're somewhat spies in a sense there, do a lot of covert work. And it's like, how do you operate in a marriage when both of you do this highly secretive, top secret job that involves deceiving people for a living? You have that aspect of the movie here, which is very fascinating. You have Michael Fassbender, who's this top level. He's a human lie detector. He's so good at telling when people are going to lie. He's so good at running lie detector tests. Um, that it's interesting to watch him kind of just investigate his friend group to see who's behind this. There's like a MacGuffin in the movie. There's like this plot device of happen of who's behind leaking the information or some. That's not really the most interesting thing about it. It's just these actors and how all of them are interacting with each other and him trying to figure out who's behind it. That really is the most fascinating thing about this movie, and the cat and mouse game that's played here. And I really enjoyed it a lot, and I really loved it quite a bit. Again, Steven Soderbergh playing around in different genres. This is a spy type thriller type film here, which was very interesting and very good. She's a good standout in the movie, by the way. Her this was the same actress who played Amy Winehouse in the biopic there, and she's very good in this.
Oh wow, would
Um,
not have been able to tell that.
yeah, but you got Reggie Page or Reggie John Paul Page or
Yeah, I know what you're talking about,
yeah,
Reggie.
that guy Reggie John Page there is in this. Yeah, so you got a good actors there. But yeah, Pierce Brosnan is also in this. Very good.
Yeah, this movie looked really. I never got around to it, but it looked really good. I kind of like the idea of marrying like a spy thriller and like a relationship drama. That's kind of the impression I get between Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett and all the people that they're involved with. So it looked really good. Yeah, I'll have to get around to it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, very awesome. All right, what's next up for you, Neil?
All right. My next one is probably the silliest movie that will come out this year. One of them days with Kiki Palmer and SZA, who are just a great comedy duo. These two women are hilarious, and this is one of the best comedies one of the best major comedies I've seen in a good while. They have great chemistry together. The jokes are pretty simple, but they're delivered really effectively and very well by all the actors. And this is just one of those like lovable buddy comedies that I can see being on repeat on many people's TVs forever. This is just lights out comedy on all fronts.
Yeah, and I think this is this the acting debut of SZA? Or
It
she
is. It is.
okay. So this
Yeah.
is the acting debut of her. Kiki Palmer always is fantastic. I mean, she's been in Hollywood a long time since she was a little girl. Just natural charisma, natural talent there, natural kind of funny presence in everything she's in. So she's amazing there. And they work well together. I think they bounced off each other incredibly well in this movie.
Yeah.
I think this movie was also a big hit in the theaters as well on a small budget there. This did really well.
Yeah, it was a surprise breakout hit early in the year. It came out in January, and I don't think it grossed like a million gajillion dollars, but it was very successful. And it just really, I was just the thing that amazed me the most is just how well Keke Palmer and SZA work together as a comedy duo. Like, I could see like 3 or 4 movies with them together and still laugh a lot with them.
Mm. And this had a budget of 14 million and had a box office of 51.8 million. So it did have
That's
that.
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I think a sequel. I think they've talked about a sequel is coming, is possibly. So, yeah. What would be your name for the sequel? Two of them days, or what would be your name? What would be your thoughts on
That's a good question. One of them weeks, maybe,
one of them weeks? Okay,
or
yeah.
one of them years, something like that.
Okay, yeah. I think I asked that to somebody else. They were like, "It's." I said it's going to be the 28 days later of comedy movies, where it's like 28 weeks later, 28 years later. Maybe yeah, maybe one of them weeks. Yeah, maybe that's going to be the name of the next one. So,
Right.
yeah, very much like a female Friday. So the female Friday.
That's what I kept coming back to. It's like I love the original Friday, and I kept thinking, wow, this is like the spiritual successor to Friday that we just never got until now, and I loved it.
Yeah, so I know people been waiting for a Friday sequel forever, another Friday movie forever. Well, hey, this can maybe hold you over, maybe. Yeah.
It should. It's right up in that same tier.
Talk about another big breakout hit of the year on my list. I got Sinners, the Ryan Coogler movie here. This movie probably, yeah. I mean, a lot of people talk about it, a lot of hype around it. After it came out, there were people going like, "Man, I absolutely love this movie," and I was one of those people. Greatly enjoyed this. This was one of my most highly anticipated movie of the year. Like Ryan Coogler, I like a lot of what Ryan Coogler does. This was on my list of most anticipated movie of 2025, and I think it lived up to my hype and my expectations. Actually, it maybe blew away my expectations of how much I really liked this a lot and what this movie did visually. The performances in this, I know some people maybe were kind of worried about Michael B. Jordan if he's going to step up to the plate as being the lead actor of this, especially doing a dual role there, playing twins. I think he does a phenomenal job here. Jack O'Connell does amazing here as the lead vampire of Remick there. The look of this movie, the music of this movie is very amazing. People say, "Oh, well, I don't get it. It's just Dust Till Dawn." No, it's much more than From Dust Till Dawn, I think. And I think this is such a great movie here, and loved what Ryan Coogler did with this. Yeah, absolutely enjoyed this. Absolutely loved it.
Spoiler alert, this is also on my list, and you are right about every single thing. In addition, this is one of the most stylish movies of the year. Just the way scenes are composed. There's so many great scenes in this movie between the characters. There's one scene in particular in the middle that's a music performance that will be the best scene of the year for any movie. Like, I have no doubt about it. But what really struck me about this movie is just how thematically rich it is. Like, yes, it's a vampire movie, but it's also all about a lot more than just like the vampire stuff. It's about how culture is developed and appropriated and then taken back by its originators. It's one of the most thematically rich movies I've seen this year, and it's killer. This movie is going to be one of the best movies of the year by the time it's all said and done. Easy.
Yeah. I think as far as movies on my list, I feel like that are a lock. I don't see it moving on my list. I think Sinners is one of them that I feel.
Yeah, it I cannot imagine it being off my list, but it's just a fantastic movie any way you slice it.
Yeah. All right. What's next up for you there, Neil?
All right. Next on my list, this opened up internationally late last year, but it came into America earlier this year. Paddington in Peru. I love the Paddington movies, so this might be a little bit of a personal pick, but Paddington is just such a delightful character, and the world is just so light and optimistic and cheerful that I just love seeing this character and the Brown family go on another adventure. It's very, the themes are pretty universal about family and the importance of all that, but Paddington is just such a delightful character that it just makes this latest outing just great to see. The fact that they go to Peru adds a new dimension to it, and it's just delightful.
Mm, yeah. I got into the Paddington series there. I absolutely love the Paddington series. These movies are so delightful. So perfectly delightful there. Um, it's not the Paddington Peru, not my favorite of the series. I think it's a little bit of a step down from one and two, but I still like it. I still think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's like the Return of the Jedi of the Paddington series, where like the first two are so good that even though the third one isn't quite as good, it's still really enjoyable. Um, My favorite part about this movie, though, is Olivia Colman. She's one of my favorite actresses working today, and she plays a crazy nun who works at the home for retired bears. And just any movie that Olivia Colman is in is something I want to see because she is just so good. Like everything she's in, amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Usually they'll do that, get a veteran actor to come in and play like the villain role, like they did have with Hugh Grant was in it. That was a really great role for him.
And Nicole Kidman in the first one.
Nicole Kidman in the first one, which was really great. So yeah, even though it's a step down, I still think it's good. I still think it's a solid movie, even though it's a step down from. It's just that the first one and two was so great and so perfect that it's like, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Next on my list right here, I got Ninja 2. This was huge, massive success. This is a Chinese film here. I think this is the highest grossing film in Chinese history, I think. There. Yeah, and it came over to the States there. I was able to see it. Even though I did not see the first one, so this is the first I've seen of the Ninja series there. I was very much impressed by this. I think this is probably one of my favorite animated movies of the year. It is gorgeous in its storytelling and its visuals, and its action there. Um, you definitely get the epic nature of this, from watching this there. This is the English, so they are re-releasing the film in an English version of it, and this is the trailer for that one. I saw it in theaters when it was just the subbed version of it there. But yeah, if people did want to go experience this film, I highly recommend checking it out there. Especially now, if you don't like to read, hey, you get they cater to you. Hey, it's coming back out again, but this time an English version of it. So
Folks, learn how to read during movies. It'll make your life better. But I'm glad this movie is done well. I never got around to it, but I am very interested in it. I was kind of worried about not having any context for the original movie, but I'm glad to hear that you were able to follow it. Given that you had not seen the original.
yeah, so I had a great time with it. Really, really great time with that. Did you want to go to your next one, Sinners, or did you want to move on to the one after that?
I'll just move on to the next one after we covered Sinners. So.
Okay. What's your final movie on your list there?
My final movie is the first movie I've seen in theaters twice since The Batman, and that is Superman 2025. This is one of the zaniest, but also the most heartfelt and sincere blockbuster movies of recent memory. All the cast, David Corn Sweat, Nicholas Holt, Rachel Brosnahan, and Eddie Gathegi do great work in their roles, but and it also has great action, as you would expect from modern superhero movies. But what really makes this movie special is just how heartfelt Superman is as a character and how sincere its message of just doing the right thing in a world that doesn't make sense anymore is. This is
Mhm.
one of the most timely blockbusters in recent memory. It's also just the most like heartfelt and emotional one of recent memory too. I loved every single thing about this movie, and it's just incredible. Like I love this movie so much.
Mm. A lot of fun. James Gunn, Superman there. We haven't seen a solo Superman movie in over 12 years because Man of Steel came out in what 2013, I believe.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's been a hot minute.
and yeah, this had a lot on its shoulders because it had to be. This is like James Gunn's first big outing as a DCU. This is like, hey, this is his first big movie in it. His new DC universe, and I think he knocks it out of the park. I really had a lot of fun with Superman in this. I think it's my second favorite comic book movie of the year. I think Thunderbolts for me is number one, but this was a lot of fun, and people saw this and remarked of like how it made them feel like it kind of feel like Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies of the goofiness of the superhero movie, but in a good way.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. It's just, in addition to the goofiness, just the sincerity of it. Just like the fact that Superman just feels so earnest as a character and you believe all of his emotions and like what he's trying to do in this movie. And just everything about it just works. It's hard to explain, but it works so well.
Yeah, kindness is the new punk rock. It had a theme, a message there going with it, which I think is why I would maybe put it above something like Fantastic Four because I felt like it had maybe more to say and it had more to do there than Fantastic Four. I think so. I did love
Yeah.
I'll move on to my next one here. My next film, and it's a horror movie here. A horror movie there from the Filippo pairing there. It is a movie called Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back, Neil. Bring Her Back. Yeah, this horror movie here from A24. I liked their last movie a lot, Talk to Me, which Talk to Me was on my list of favorite movies of the year it came out. And I think this might be on my list there when all of the year is said and done. Really greatly enjoyed this a lot. This has Sally Fields in it, and seems like the thing that they're doing, these directors, they'll take like a veteran actress, and then they'll pair the veteran actress up with like an actor who has no experience or little to no experience. Like this girl here who is actually visually impaired. I think this is the first thing she's ever acted in before, and she's absolutely amazing in it.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, go ahead.
No, no, I was just saying, oh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is like her first thing ever there, and I think she does a phenomenal job in it. It's a movie about these two adopted siblings there. They get adopted by Sally Fields' character, and they start noticing some weird shit kind of going around in this house and how kind of things develop from there. Sally Fields, and she's so amazing in this movie, just as far as you even though what she's doing, you do sympathize with her, you understand her kind of what she's kind of doing and why she's doing it, and she's such a really great at even though she's doing something that maybe not the most right thing, you do understand her motivation for it, and she makes you really care for her for that. And I think that's a really great storytelling there.
Yeah,
Um,
I absolutely love Talk to Me as well, and I regret not seeing this in theaters, but I definitely want to later this year. I'm glad to hear it's great, but because their last movie Talk to Me is just so good, and this one just seems in that same tier as well.
yeah, you would definitely be uncomfortable. A lot of people going like, "This was so uncomfortable. It made me squirm, and it made me kind of yeah." And I was definitely one of those people. But I love movies like that. I love horror movies like that.
As long as the movie's good, that's all I care about. So I'm glad to hear.
Yeah. Next on my list is a movie that just was a new addition to my list after seeing it. Naked Gun, 2025. Naked Gun. I had a lot of fun with this. This was a really good time. A very funny movie. Liam Neeson is I think one of the perfect people to step into the role there after Leslie Nielsen, given his track record of what we know Liam Neeson to do, the serious action guy. He's kind of had this career renaissance, but now he's kind of spoofing that a little bit in this with this new Naked Gun Legacy sequel here. But yeah, the gags really work. It's really funny here. It's a brisk hour and 25 minutes, so you can get in and out watching it, so you don't have to spend too much time. I think that's always great for a comedy to know when to get in, get out. The chemistry between him and Pamela Anderson is really great in this. It also really works. Yeah, so really great time watching this there. Uh, yeah, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I definitely want to see this. I gotta be honest, I'm shocked that this is getting such great reviews, but I'm legit really happy it is, just because. the original Naked Gun is a comedy classic, and when I first heard that they were redoing this, I honestly did not have great expectations for it, but I'm glad that it's really working.
Mm, yeah, and the thing about the trailer is they don't show all the best bits and gags in the trailer. Like, there's a lot of great stuff that when you actually see the movie, that it's like, oh, that's really funny, and they really do some great stuff there. So not all the good stuff is just in the trailer, which is really nice.
I will say the thing that made me like pay more attention to it was that teaser trailer they did where they did like the police memorial wall, the gag at the end of that. That was the first thing I saw of this movie that was just like, okay, okay, you're onto something here.
Oh yeah, that was really good. Yeah, they do the whole line of people crying over because like much like these legacy sequels, everybody's the related to the character of the first movie. You know what I mean? Keep the connection. So, and they do the O.J. Simpson bit, which got a big laugh in my theater as well when they get to him. So that was really good.
The
Uh,
first time I saw that particular joke, I was like, okay, all right, you're onto something here.
Next on my list is another comedy. It's a comedy from Tim Robinson called Friendship. This is Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. This is very much like if you're. I mean, I guess much like with Naked Gun too. I mean, comedy is very subjective, so it depends on if you're going to find this funny or not. I like this type of style of humor. This kind of awkward, uncomfortable style of humor. That's what kind of Tim Robinson operates in there. And I think it works. And then watching this movie made me go back and watch his sketch comedy show there. I think it was called like Tim Robinson Show or something like that.
Yeah, it's called I Think You Should Leave on Netflix.
I think you should leave, yeah, on Netflix there. It's like 15 minutes each episode there, like a series of sketches, which is really good, really funny. So it made me go back and watch that. It was really good. But this movie, just involving a guy who starts building a friendship with Paul Rudd's character, and how kind of awkward that kind of goes, which I thought was really good there. But yeah, I think this really kind of works on that. I had a good time. I laughed a lot in it. But yeah, it depends if you kind of find this humor funny. It kind of depends. It's
I
very
will
particular.
I will admit, like I do find I think you should leave really funny. I guess the question I would have is like, how does this like is this like a 90-minute I think you should leave sketch, or is it more like a fully fledged movie?
Um, no, I don't think it feels too much like a sketch, like that. I think it kind of has a good story in it, kind of going on. It doesn't really go that far with the concept of it. That was kind of one thing I said about the review was that because you think it's maybe going to touch on things like maybe men and friendships with men and how that's needed, or kind of make a social commentary on that a little bit. But it doesn't really delve too much into that or the concept of that. It's just kind of used mainly just to set up for things. That was one thing I was like, I wish it kind of maybe delved into that a little bit deeper. But doesn't really fully explore that. But I still thought it was still very funny for what it was there. But yeah,
Okay,
uh,
well I'm glad you liked it then.
yeah. Last movie for me is the Bong Joon Ho film Mickey 17. This was a movie starring Robert Pattinson there. This is based on a book there as well. And this was, I think, a little divisive. There's some people really liked it, and there's some people kind of just kind of felt it was mediocre or not so good, especially compared to the other work of Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho, who did Parasite, there, and this movie kept getting delayed. It got delayed like 2, 3 times. This movie did. But I don't think it's the best Bong Joon-ho has ever done. But I still thought it was a decent outing from him, and I think even like a weak Bong Joon-ho movie is still better than most people's great stuff there. And yeah, I mean, this movie, we've had a lot of movies about tech billionaires and that it's been spoofed in that. Even something like Naked Gun did it. Here you have Mark Ruffalo who plays a combination of Trump and Elon Musk together there with the villain of this movie. But yeah, but from people who read the book, they said the book more gets into the cloning aspect of things and the moral ambiguity of that. Like, is it right? And is a clone a full fledged person or not? Where the movie kind of skirts past that and doesn't really delve into that all that much. But did you check this movie out?
I did, and this is gonna be the only film I like hard disagree with you on because like I did not really care for this movie to be honest.
Mm,
I thought it had a very fascinating concept, but then it just had way too many stories going on. The fact that you have characters like Stephen Ewan and Tony Collette and all these really big name actors, and it never felt like they had much to do in this. And by the time the ending rolled around, I felt like there was 3 movies worth of story combined into like a one singular 2.5 hour movie. I applaud the ambition. I think Robert Pattinson is giving one of the all time great Looney Tunes live action performances in this movie, but like as a movie, I just felt like it just didn't really work for me. Unfortunately, I'm glad it did for you though.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that with people. I see it kinda not working there, with that. But I'm also I think they are planning on working together again in another movie, him and Bong Joon-ho, I think, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, I don't think it's a I mean, I'll see how the rest of the year shakes out. I think Mickey 17 might move out of my top 10, but I'll see how the rest of the year shakes out. But, yeah,
Hmm.
that was my best of 2024 2025 so far. That was Neil's best of 2025 so far. Had a lot of great picks there. I'm glad our lists were different, had a lot of different movies on there.
Yeah, you gave me a lot of really good suggestions for movies to check out, particularly like Black Bag. I really want to, I'm happy to see those movies on your list.
Yeah, awesome stuff.